Hello, good evening. Monday night already. Hasn't it come around quickly? Well, what can I say about tonight's guest? Met not too long back, about a year or two back, and I'm going to bring on straight away. So this is the lovely Claire Holmes, and thank you for joining me.
That's all right.
You all right, darling? How's things?
I think we're all suffering at the minute from what's been going on, but we're all stuck in. We can't do nothing. It's starting to get to everybody. And like events in our team are very quiet at the minute because none of us can get out, none of us can do nothing. And, we've had to change events and then change events again. It's just going on and on. And it's like nothing at the minute is normal. It's horrible. It's thrown everybody.
I was talking to a lovely medium last night up in Scotland, and the court is live, and I was chatting away to him, and it's just must be so disheartening for all the guests and people that's booked places and then having to pull the plug. The teams are working so hard, and obviously they've got to run with current situations as well. So, tell me about yourself, darling.
What do you want me to start with?
How did you get into the paranormal world?
Paranormal world I've been doing now for 9-10 years. Always was a bit strange as a child, a bit different from very young, as I can remember, 7 years old. Picked up on energy. Found like places like school settings really hard because I was so sensitive. I'm a bit of an empath, a bit clairsentient, and I get very overwhelmed in spaces because I'm taken in so much. And when I was younger, I couldn't shut down, and I'm a bit hyperactive anyway. My brain's all over the place. So, I have got like the ADHD, in which they say sometimes people that are spiritual do get these gifts that, you're a little bit more special. So, but I think what it did make it hard for me to channel properly, but it's made me very aware. So as I grew up, I was always interested in paranormal stuff, watching like creepy things. Was it Scooby-Doo back then?
It was, yeah. That had us all intrigued, didn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then obviously it got to the point where I started a team, not the team I'm with now. I did run another team, and then we went separate ways, and we started our team last year. So, I've been doing the team stuff, I swear it's for about 8-9 years. That's where I obviously going to different events, met you at some of events.
Yeah.
It was a castle, wasn't it? The one down in Wales. And
yes.
From there onwards, just been booking venues, which we can't do now, meeting brilliant people, different types of people. And obviously I do my stuff on my own with my partner, which at the minute is, the same problem. My exploring, some people don't agree with it. And doing my ghost hunting in them on my own with my partner. But we don't always do that because obviously the lockdown now, I'm not going out. I've been really busy. So at the minute it's on standstill, and I've got videos set back on my YouTube channel, which is the Paranormal Explorer 666, but I have changed it to the Paranormal 666 now if you go over to YouTube. But a lot of stuff on there, but I'm using my old videos now because I've not got new ones. So I'm doing a bit more lives, which I've spoke to you about, and getting a few people on to come and chat. So, just trying to keep everything flowing and trying to get something different to keep people involved, because everyone's getting fed up, aren't they? And they need something a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely. And as in the past, you've had like kindred warriors paranormal, and then you've gone into the urban exploring and all that. And I mean, if you had like loads of things to edit and stuff like that, that'd be the ideal time to do that type of thing now.
I've done it all. I've got nothing left.
Nothing left.
I've got one video, but I've just been so poorly. Obviously, I'm not going to hide. I've had COVID really bad. I've had to fight it off. I couldn't breathe. It is evil. My whole family had it. 5 of us within 3 days. It spread through the whole family. So at the minute, I haven't even got energy. Honestly, it's took it out of me to even sit and edit. I've got one video, and I'm like, I can't be bothered. That isn't paranormal. It isn't exploring the policeman's house, and it's quite a new one on the thingy at the minute circuit. But I've got loads of locations I can go to, but I'm so scared to go out my house. I won't go out. I
Yeah,
won't go out.
you
And
just put
I'm
that.
waiting.
It's better to be safe, isn't it? Obviously,
Yeah,
and
I'm not.
you put that on the back burner, Claire, as well.
Yeah.
When you're going out and about and you're exploring, and I always see it's like a little bit of the urban side of it. I would love to do more of, but obviously because of circumstances, I'm not in that position to do that. I feel that's like a little lone paranormal group as well, which is like away from the investigations that we do in the mainstream
Very
circuit.
different. See, I'm in control. I'm going into places you don't know, and this is another risk, very risky. Some of these buildings are falling down. I've gone through a few floors. You're in the middle of nowhere. Normally, it's just me and my husband, and I mean, hundreds of miles away sometimes. No one knows where we are except for my kids. And if anything happened, it is so risky. But I've had some amazing, places like in Snowdonia, in the middle of the mountains, I went to before the lockdown. It's in my wall, and the history of the place, 70 years, I think, empty, maybe longer, but the last people who lived there was around them, and everything was in there from when they lived there, to the old toilet. Some of it's got really damaged, but it was just like when you walk, well, when I got through the window, it's open, there's a hole there, so we didn't break in. And then we found out you could walk in the front door. But yeah, when we got in there, that place, you go back in time, and it sort of hits you, and you start to feel sensitive, everything, and it's quite overwhelming to think that people live like that and they appreciate life and they appreciated them things and lived that way and didn't moan, didn't have the internet, didn't have all the stuff like we do on TVs, all the electrics. You see all the old stuff there that they lived with, and like the toilet, that it was just a little seat thing, a chair. It was crazy. And then you see like the stuff that they used to wash, the old potties they used to use, and it's crazy when you think about how these people live. That is the thing I get out of that, which is different from doing the paranormal in places I do book. That is the difference. It's very, you know, overwhelming, I think, and it feels surreal sometimes, and you feel like you're putting yourself back there. And I've had some really good spirit communication. I've had, names out of that one I got, and I look back on the history and I got the names of I contacted through the spirit world, and the spirits are quite really nice ones, and luckily I didn't get horrible ones. But we had some good lights go off, communication. It was, I was really happy. And that was 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of Snowdonia Mountains, in the middle of a little house. And yeah, that's on my wall. But the difference of it is completely different. But we hired a location not long ago as well, before Christmas, before everything went up in the air again. I had a hired location, which was a prison hospital. That was in Wales as well. I can't remember the name of it now. I can never pronounce the name of it, but apparently they're not hiring that out anymore. It was a massive place. It had a prison in there, and it's something Garth, something you might have seen it. I don't know, but anyway, that place now, Most Haunted have got that place now. Is it for 3 years, so no one's going to be getting in there. But I was lucky to get in that place, but we did have to pay a fee to get in that one. Very small. But hold on,
I
Dave,
do.
I've got people falling
do.
through floors yet.
Yeah, I'll put them on in a second. I do see some places around the Snowdonia National Park and all that where I've seen one or two people that have been out to certain locations there for derelict buildings and stuff like that, and I instantly get drawn back to the old values, like your 1940s, your 1930s with the buildings and the era that they were built. You
The
can see
1800 Snowdonia,
1800s.
1860, 70, I think it was. It was amazing.
Yeah. Right, so Dennis has put a question on. I'll see if we can get through that. Says he's been lucky to get to one or two dangerous places. No squatters. Yeah, very interesting vibes, and I think they're quite raw in how they are when you go into a location like that. Do you get any with and around the countryside? Have you got anything plans more towards the summer?
In the summer, I've got a trip coming on in Scotland. I've actually got contacts of some really quite big explorers up in Scotland, and I've just been given 10 locations which are in the middle of nowhere, which are absolute time capsules. So I will be heading up that way when the lockdown's done and starting to film again and getting some of them. And also I've got my team events, which we're going to start rolling again and getting involved with my team. And we've got a few places that we need to rebook to get flowing again, but it's all waiting at the minute. It's a waiting game. And that is the thing. I won't investigate in my own house or do stuff in my own house. So I'm not gonna, I've got to wait. I've just got to wait. And it is going to be frustrating for all of us. But unfortunately, there's some people out there that are in the community that I'm in that do still go out. I do know that some do work, and I do know some do earn money, and that is their living. I don't earn money from it, and it isn't my living, so I don't need to go out, and I'm not risking it. But that's my opinion. And there are people that do, and that's up to them in my eyes. I'm not getting involved in that argument.
I definitely think at the minute, Claire, it is about keeping safe, and that, tomorrow's another day as well, and we are a day closer to getting back to our, what we do and what we enjoy as well. Touching back on your house, I know you don't investigate on your house, but as we've talked in the past, we do quite pick up on a lot around the land, don't we, as well?
I pick up on land. And this land wasn't very nice that I'm on, and I've had to have people in before I moved. I moved in my house and it was a bit dodgy. I had to get several people in, different mediums, to sort this house out, and so I'm not going to mess with anything to bring that back in or open it up, because I might be able to do stuff, but I've definitely not a person that can control it if I open stuff up and loads of spirits. But if I'm on a location and I do open something up somewhere else, or I'm not doing something wrong, I know it could be abandoned place, I'm not going to be worried that I'm going to get dragged out of my bed at night unless they come home with me. But no, I won't risk. I'm not messing about in my house because I've got children here. I've got children here.
So obviously, how long have you been there? And to pick
10
up
years in this house.
10 years. And then
the land's weird around here. I think I pick up, like I had a medium, I picked up a very busy sort of lots of different spirits coming in here. And we heard a horse and cart. I think I've told you this. I kept hearing it at a certain time. Was it 2, 3 in the morning? And my husband said I was going mental. I said, I'm not going mental. I can hear it outside. So one night I woke him up and I heard it, and I got him up and said, look, listen. And he heard it. It was going along the street like it was there. And he was like, there's a horse and cart. I said, I pulled the window open and said, there's nothing there. And he believed me. And, I always felt weird downstairs in my front room. And when the medium came here, he told us, he didn't know, I'm not going to mention his name, he's quite well known as well.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. He came here and he told me in my front room, he didn't know because I didn't tell him, that he could hear like a horse and cart out the front, but he could hear them going through my house to the back. And he said it sounded like what they were doing were burying bodies that had died from the plague. And that's exactly, I always thought it was plague land or something back a long time ago. I know we've got a graveyard up the road from here, not far. I'm in Bicester in Oxford, and that is an ancient burial ground, and they're building new houses on that now, and there's loads of problems there. Builders are running out the houses, so there's definitely something on this land. Yeah, they've been running out. I've been called to one of them houses as well.
We have talked in the past, and I've always said I will come down to Oxford and we'll have a little mooch around there. Where's your favourite places around your hometown of Oxford there? What could you suggest?
Castle, best place ever.
Again?
Oxford Castle.
Okay, not been there yet, but we'll have a little.
You've got to go. Very dark energies. Very dark energies there. Very different feeling. Different. If you've been to Warwick, completely different feeling. Right. Very weird energy to this day. It's always stuck with me. And I went down right deep into like underground where there was a well, and we did the scanner on the radio, and the voice that came through was saying, be careful, don't fall in. And I was like, whoa. It was like, very weird. And they did a lot of hangings on the mount, and there was a lot of history because it was due for King Henry VIII, wasn't it, back sort of them times, and about all the town's got a lot of history from the time when was it when he took over and he wanted all the nunneries blown up and stuff like that. Around that time, a lot went on in Oxford, and a lot of them were hung, and there's a lot of things that went on here back in them times. So there's a lot of history here, but it is a very weird place to visit. I do know that the private events do events there. You have to do it is about £60, I think. That was one of the best places I went, Oxford Castle. But a bit of noise polluted, but a lot of energy with table tipping and all that sort of stuff. Very good place. I recommend
Obviously,
going there.
Jessica and Dave have said about Oxford Castle and being nice, great place, and the prison there. Have you been to the prison in Oxford?
The prison is linked in with it, because if you remember, it's all built together. Next to it, there's a hotel called Mama's Owl, which was the prison, the original part of that, another part of it, and they built the hotel right next to it. But in the castle is the prison as well, are the cells at the bottom, so it's all linked in together. But they made the hotel into with the cells, made it really posh, but it's really expensive to stay there. But it is worth a look at too. You can actually go inside and walk in, but not now because of lockdown. When it's open, you can walk in and nip in and go and have a look. And you can go into the hotel and go down some stairs, and it takes you to an old cell in there, and they've left it exactly the same. But no one bothers you. You can go in there, because I've been in there loads of times. But
Jesse said she could hear the female's voice in her ear in the room they were staying in.
Yeah, it is creepy, and that's weird in there. Very, very the energy's weird. I will give it that.
So go on, Claire.
You carry on.
I was just thinking there as well, where you mentioned about the plague. I think I might have picked up on last time where we're seeing a mound or stuff like that, where you've mentioned it. Is there quite a hill quite close to you?
This is the mound there's a mound. There's a lot of army stuff where I live, and there's like a hill mound just probably about a mile away from here.
Yeah, because I think we touched on that last time.
Maybe half.
Right, okay. Any questions, folks? Just keep asking them as well. Where would you like to go to in the UK? I know you touched on Scotland.
I want to go to the castles, Edinburgh Castle. I really want to get up there. I'm like you, I love the castles. I feel like when I go in them, it's like I feel like I've been here before, and it's something I really like about it. It's not a bad feeling, it's a good feeling. So I just feel like I fit in. It's weird. You sort of get engrossed and feel part of it, and that's how where I'm very, very sensitive. I just feel that I've been back in some time in a castle, but I don't know when. I'm never going to know.
I know when I've touched on going to a few old halls and stuff like that, or museums, and then some of the team have put some of the costumes on and all that, like you say, with the castles. And so they just seem to just come alive when people start reenacting in and around, even with the dress wear on. It just seems to trigger everything as well. What would you say your either weirdest experiences of I knew that was going to happen?
Weirdest experiences, let me think. The one in the swimming baths, what's the name of it? Up in I was talking to, was it Russ about this? Swimming bath?
Smethwick Baths.
Right. That place there, in the there were bunk beds in a room. I can't remember, we were discussing this the other day. I can't remember what part it was, but there was writing on the wall, and there used to be bunk beds in there. And I think in the wall, that's where they stayed, children or something in that part. But I was in that part doing something, and the weirdest thing that happened to me there was how the table moved. It actually moved itself and pushed me up against a wall. The energy was like so powerful. It was weird. I was like, well, if it can do that, what could the people say? They can't hurt you, but I'm aware.
They can put you on your toes, can't they? They can put you on your back foot.
Yeah,
certainly.
it put me behind the table. It was strong, and I was like, whoa. But I don't show much fear. with things, and I'm quite like with spirit balls. People do say to me, "Why don't you shut it?" Now I will challenge a spirit in a way if I think they're scared, if they're being defensive. Like I went into an abandoned house, which is known as a widow's mansion, where an old soldier died, and the widow's there. I know she's there, and her energy. And when I went in there, the energy on the board was telling me to F off. In the end, I didn't shut it down. I managed to talk. And it's because we've walked in their house. If a stranger walks in your house, you are going to tell them where to go.
Be gone.
But yeah, we got some good communication there. But, if I'd shut that back down straight away, then I wouldn't have found out what, other information. And I do know when they're getting a bit dodgy, and I will shut them down. But sometimes I've had spirits be really horrible and call me names from the Victorian days and then say sorry to me because they were scared. So, I challenge a bit. And that time when that pushed me up against the wall, I didn't even challenge it. And I was thinking, whoa, that was weird.
With having your heightened senses around all that as well, it does get a bit eerie sometimes as well. How have you found yourself looking back that you've developed from day one to where you are now?
Right. With my development, I say my development, because I've had quite a really tough life, chaotic life. I've been through a lot of experiences in my life, and I've looked back on them experiences, and it wasn't up to, was it a good 15 years ago, did my stuff more getting heightened. But I found that it was after my life lessons. After my life lessons, my things got stronger. It was very weird. And I actually went to my doctor because I know you're going to laugh. I get touched by spirit. I went to my doctor and said to him, he laughed at me and said, I think I've got scabies because I was getting touched by spirit. And he laughed. And I dismissed it, and it kept happening. And I'm thinking, well, what's happening? And it was, them trying to, I wasn't grounded properly. So it took me a while to learn and figure out things. It took me a little bit longer than what it would someone else because I didn't go and get no help. I've learned literally by my own, I've learned myself. I've taught myself.
And being around people that you're interacting with your experiences.
I've learned from people like you. I've learned from people like Karen. I watch, I learn, I meet people. I learn sort of that way by being it and doing it and going through it. And I don't learn by a bit of paper study. I can't learn like that. I have to be hands-on, learning as I go along. I think someone asked how long I've been clairsentient. I think I've been clairsentient since a very little child.
Yeah, Jess put that up before as well, and obviously Dave as well.
I developed more the last 15 years, but now I started to hear voices. It weren't the right time for me. It went away, and it's never come back. I do get bits, but I'm not ready for that. I think my gift I've got now is enough for me. I don't want to develop no more. I really don't want to develop no more. I'm scared.
I know what I've just been given.
What?
Wait till you're fully recharged. There's another little window there. But then again, it's all about being in control, darling. It's all about there's a right time and place when you're in your own property. But when you're going off working and getting to these locations, I do think there's a little bit more there for you. But just ask your team to slow it down. All right. But that's why I was laughing.
No, I think I've had to shut off a lot lately, and at the minute I'm shut off. If I went out or tried anything now, nothing would happen. I am too poorly. I'm still recovering. I'm not right. I think that your body, don't you? When you're going to work and when you're not going to work. I know I wouldn't be able to work now. I wouldn't be safe. I'd be open. I'd probably pick something up not good, and I wouldn't be able to deal with something that was not good. Normally, I'm quite strong.
When you're ready to get your energies back up and running, I just feel that they're going to give you a little taster. And then if you need it to slow down, then no problem with that as well.
I shouted at them when I was ill. I was like, can I help me, are you?
Do you find yourself talking to yourself over your shoulder when you sense the spirit and you turn around, you're like, oh, I'm doing it, right, I'm not in the right place. What I mean is, you can't turn around and talk back to them because you could be just walking down to the shops, you know what I mean?
I get comments in my head and I have to think, oh my goodness, sometimes, because I know that's not me thinking. I have got quite a, I'm not sure how many guides, but I've definitely got one from when I was very little that's been with me all my life. I've got another one that's there that's quite cheeky. I know I've got a few, and I've got one that, this sounds really weird. Sometimes I'm no good at decorating and doing stuff, and sometimes I get this energy come in, I start doing stuff, and I'm thinking, how the hell am I doing this? Because this isn't me. And all this, I start doing this really creative, artistic, all this stuff, yeah. And people say, "Oh, how'd you do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know," but I feel they step in sometimes and take over, start me doing all these crazy things. I really, it's
Well,
not me.
as you was touching on to that original question where I said how how you sense things happening prior to going to a location sometimes in your weirdest experience. I went to a friend's wedding in, I think it was Stratford Hotel, which is like virtually opposite the train station. And I've been there for about an hour, and I'm minding my own business in and around friends and all that. My friend drove me down there. And at the time I'd had a pint, I was like, something's really bugging me and niggling me. And I was like, I can hear an argument.
Oh.
So I start walking around the hotel, and then I end up in around the basement, around the back of the building type of thing. And a friend said, "Oh, what are you doing in here?" I said, "Oh, just hearing voices." And I'm trying to explain that. And I actually found out that that train station had a tunnel under to the bottom of the hotel, and the Cray twins had actually appeared that turned up at that hotel to collect money, and that's the argument I could hear was them collecting money in a back room. So obviously from the surrounding areas, because apparently they did travel as well to collect in and around the days as well, but I could hear the argument as clear as day. I couldn't see them because it was like, I'd say about 300 yards away, from the back of the building to where the reception hall was. And that was bizarre. And then we got talking to the receptionist. She said, "Oh, yeah, the history is that's what's happened in the past." And I'm like, "Oh, I could hear it. It's clear as day."
Crazy.
Yeah.
See, I get drawn to places when I'm in places that feel weird. But then sometimes when I'm with a lot of people, I can't focus and I'm all over the shot. Anyway, sometimes, so mine's more feeling. I feel I see, the shimmers.
Yeah.
I see that. Like on the road when you're driving, you get the sun. I also can see that as well. If I'm stood, I can pick them up.
See the haze and the outline.
I see the haze, yeah. I can't see them. If I probably did see them for long, I'd probably run a mile.
Do you pick up on them around people's aura, the family members and that around their aura, or if a person stood you in real life, do you see?
One stood with me, I start to read them and I'm thinking, here we go, that's the guide kicking in. And then I try and keep my mouth shut because I don't want to say nothing. As a young child, I've always had this problem. I would have no filter and say, and I think it's to do with the gift. And I just blurt things out, which is part of ADHD. But I think it was a lot to do with my gift because some things I would say would be really strange, and people would think I'm weird because of it. And it wasn't because I was weird; it's because I was obviously meant to give messages. But yeah, I think it is.
Have you been around? Have you been around, Claire, any of the master builders around the UK, like Stonehenge or anything like that?
You know what? Haven't been there. I've been to one set near here. I can't remember, near Swindon way. But I didn't get near them. But I've been to the ones Rollright stones, which are near me here. I need to go back up to them, but I do need to get up to Stonehenge. But haven't ever made it there, unfortunately. Would love to.
Many years back, I stopped off at Stonehenge about 5 years ago, and my guide went, "No, come on, we've got other business to do. We don't need to be here today." And it was just like, right, okay. So again, sometimes you've got to follow your gut instinct as well with your guide as well. How could you explain? Any advice you could give to anybody that's possibly new or up and coming that needs any help with guidance in and around what you've experienced, like your life skills around the paranormal?
I've learned the hard way with my own feelings and having to learn, and I've not reached out to many people, but I would say reaching out to people helps a lot more. I'm quite, what's the word? I just get on with it. I've always tend to be getting on with things on my own and learning the hard way. So that's the way I am. But I do think reaching out for people, if you're not feeling right, sometimes really helps you, because your development, everyone's different. We all develop in different ways. We all experience different things, like the third eye pain on your head. Someone be getting headaches, can't they, and just think, oh, I'm stressed, but it could be your third eye. I've had all that tingling sensation here and stuff like that happen to me, and it's because I wasn't grounding properly and things like that. And I never reached out to ask anybody, so I just left myself wide open. So I do advise people that are, getting things. I do think it's good to reach out to somebody, because you don't want to be left wide open like I was.
Yeah, our Linda's just joined on, and she can verify for leaving herself wide open one day and asking spirits to come in and around. And boy, she had a bit of an attachment for a few hours as well. So that was a really eye-opening experience as well. Where would you? How can I explain this one? Any old wives' tales in and around you? Any old? Do you go on any walks or anything like that? Cities? Do you go following? I want to get more in depth with finding a little bit of answers out about things you've heard of a location or an urban place.
With urban, see, same as the places with the ones we hire, I tend not to look up the history, because I think it ruins everything. I like to see what I get, then go back and look it up to see if it was true, there anything that I can find, instead of going in there and knowing it and planting it in my head. But the urban places, there are all different stories. Everyone, it changes, like Chinese whispers. So it could go, this happened to this happened. So I don't really listen to any of it, and I don't really research till after, like the Cloud House. After I got a name on the board, I went and looked at the history. I went and looked at the house, and then I did a bit of it. But bit like Oxford as well, I've done a walk around here, and I would like to go and look up more history of that place, because I was going to go down there one time and have a film and go around to see what I could feel. I'd like to know a little bit more about around the colleges.
Excellent as well. Have they got big grounds, have they, on the college campus?
I crept in one once. And I think it's where they did the Harry Potter. I'm going to get in trouble when I can't do that. I've got a photo of a weird figure stood there with something on its head. It was weird. It's holding something. I'll have to hook that out and send that to you when I'm off here one day. I have to look for it. Yeah, but that was really strange.
I always get drawn to the one is Mary Queen Scots, and every time I start watching it, I keep saying I've got to turn it off. I've got to turn it off, because it's not the right time and place to look more into that. But I just do feel with Mary Queen of Scots, it's to do with the bloodline from the English and our royalty, and I think it's like a subject that's taboo, and we're not supposed to know that. To me, the bloodline shouldn't be where the bloodline is now from back in its day. So again, from the English to the Scots, I always feel at that time period, as a medium, they're saying, shut up.
Yeah. That's weird, because I've watched, where I've been so poorly, so much stuff on King Arthur, and then about all the land down in, is it Bristol Way? I've watched so much about all the Stonehenge stuff, the land round there, and I'm drawn to all that sort of stuff around there. And I watched all the stuff about King Henry VIII and the Tower of London as well. I've watched so much stuff while I've been poorly. I'm drawn to all that stuff, but I've never ever looked at her stuff and never been drawn. Can never be. Weird, isn't it?
There was a chambermaid, one of the chambermaids had a scroll that I could see spiritually coming from Edinburgh to Northumberland, and then virtually got hijacked. That actually came out on a talking board, on a spirit board as well. And then the things were tying in. So when things tie in with the stories, it just leads you to that. I do know Arthur it is in and around. Not as much as my team, but he's always observing and watching what's going on. So I do feel that past life of history, where you say you go to Henry VIII's locations and stuff like that, it's not us putting ourselves in that position of trying to relive it. I do feel that there's some type of things that draw us to these types of locations and places.
Where was it? I went the Tower of London. My daughter's like, she's only 18. She's very like me. She's very sensitive, feels spirit like me. I was with both my daughters actually, my older one as well. And we were both in the Tower of London in the jail bit upstairs, and my daughters, both of them, heard a voice there saying "Get out," and in the Tower of London, in that bit, I didn't hear it. They heard it clearly. It frightened the life out of them in there as well. So I don't know what that was, but weird, isn't it? I didn't hear it, and they did.
It certainly is. Tower of London is intriguing with the layers that it's got there as well. Dave said, have you read up about Judge Jeffreys? Seems to have been up and down the country. I know he's tested me to the limit. Do you know anything of the hanging Judge Jeffreys?
No.
Right. In and around, David, with Judge Jeffreys, he was a renowned back in his days, possibly top of my head, 1770s, top of my head. I put something on Instagram on my page the other day in and around one of his houses, but I always seem to be at a location he's been in and around as well. The Skirrid Inn, Stanley Palace in Chester, all these type of places, in Walton Hall, he owned that as well. So I've ended up in few locations, and he's appeared. St George's Hall in Liverpool. So again, he was just a notorious hanging judge, and he's quite a very pot-bellied gentleman. Have tranced him through a few times before as well. So I've got a few pictures of that as well. So I'll try and share that later. But have a little look into that, Judge Jeffreys.
I will have a look at that because I do watch a lot of stuff. I like the times around King Henry VIII. I'm very drawn to Victorian times. Very drawn to Victorian times. Something there with that as well. It's nice, I think, to go and look up a bit of history, because when we do these things, we know a bit. But problem with me is I've got a sieve of memory. So if I don't write it down, I'm like, oh, I know something about this, but I can't remember, which is quite good. And I sometimes think the way I work, I'm not meant to remember, because I think what I am, I'm a track spirit in. I have, I'm not trained in spirit rescue. I've helped a few people calm houses down. I've helped a few people, gone in there, done a bit of a blessing, a bit of stuff, and calm things down and move things on. And they've wrote back to me, thanked me, and I'm like, well, I didn't even think I did anything. But yeah, I think it's nice to go in there and not know anything sometimes, like me.
I think as well with spirit, they want to understand. The spirit will have an understanding of where they've been acknowledged. Is a lot of balance for them as well. So even with the acknowledgement of a person that's owning a property to somebody that's coming in and talking about it, they will automatically get the response of, oh, I've been acknowledged, I am being heard to, because two different people are talking about me.
Definitely in the abandoned places, I've found spirit come through to me straight away. And when I'm on locations that are paid for, I've had to work for maybe sometimes half hour, 45 minutes to get them to get in. But believe me, I've just put my hands on a table and it's bang, or my board, and instantly my light. And I found that's a difference between the abandoned places. They seem to really interact really quickly with you if they want to react so fast. Like it's shocked me actually sometimes. Just to put your hand down, it goes boom, and I'm like, "Whoa, God, it's here already."
When you go on your urbans, what do you have your own little kit bag? Do you count your stuff in? Do you count your stuff out? Or do you have a set stuff that you take all the time religiously?
I'm scatty, so I grab my bag, and whatever I've left at home don't come with me. We've gone into places and I've got a torch. No, have you got one? No. So I'm a bit scatty. But I just go in there with what I've got on me, and I like to use the mag light to get them to interact. Sometimes they don't interact with that and don't do anything. Sometimes I've had brilliant stuff. Obviously, I've left my K2 about 20,000 times and lost loads of them, but I've just got a new K2. That's good sometimes because there's not much electric in the abandoned places. You're in the middle, it's all dead, everything. I use my spirit board nearly if I can, and it's a place I don't have to get out of quickly, as much as I can, because I do like to try and get a name, a date, a bit about the history, and then I will try and go and look it up. That's what my aim is. Some of the spirits are really good. Some of the spirits can't spell. Some of them are really confused. Some of them are new. I deal with all different ones. Some of them are really horrible. And I've got one the other day on a video I put on YouTube that told me he killed, shot 7 people and killed his wife and all sorts. And I'm like, okay. But this was not far from me. Where was this? I can't even think, not far from me, but the land again. I looked back up at the land and there was a lot to do again with the king and the royalty and stuff. And I'm thinking, this is strange. But I couldn't quite get proper names. But I think they were talking Latin to me. Latin. I've got some Latin and I can't do Latin. So I'm like, well, what are you spelling out? And I couldn't understand.
Sometimes when I get through some Latin being spoke to me and all that as well, it could be a low level energy around as well, and it's just interesting, the whole range band of spirits that come through the light down below. So again, it's trying to work out what level they're at the light that you want to talk with and communicate with as well. Is there have you tried to get in any military of defence places in a way that you're just having a look around from the outside? Is the best way to word that, isn't it?
I've got one near me, and I could go around a few places. We did the Randonautica about last year. Someone, I can't remember when it was, early on in the summer, took us in the middle of a blooming field that we're not meant to be in, the army place, near that mound, where you said actually near the mound. And I'm like, why is it took us in the middle of this field? But yeah, there's one here, a very big one that at the minute I think's being used as a mall to store bodies at the minute, sadly. Can't remember the name of it, but it's massive. Can't even remember the name. See, this is what I'm like, blank. But there's one near me and I would like to go around it. But as I say, I haven't had a chance because of what's been going on. I'm too scared to go anywhere at the minute. I'm chicken. It's bad enough going to bloody Tesco's and Aldi. I'm paranoid, honestly. It's really messed my head up. I've got so much, my anxiety has gone through the roof. Everything's worse because I'm so scared. And before, as I said, I've been out in the past. I've worn my mask, I've worn my gloves. I've been out at the abandoned places. I've worn my mask, I've worn my gloves. I've not been near anyone, only my husband, and it's still, I went to hospital and had an operation and come out with it. So it doesn't matter what you do or where you go, you're always at risk. That's if you believe in it. And as I say, I believe because I've had it, so I know how dangerous it is.
So when you go into these urban places and doing all your exploring and that, do you feel like any circles or cults or any witchcraft, or do you feel something's not quite right?
I feel the energy. I feel it feels a bit weird. And to me, weird, like I need to get out of here. When I get the urge that I need to leave now, this is enough. To me, that is when there's something building up that isn't very good. And when I walk around places, you can normally tell when stuff's going on like that because of the energy. And it doesn't feel welcome. I get like a sicky feeling. If it's really bad, I start, feeling I just need to run. So I don't get them feelings normally unless the energy is not good. And that's when I get out of there or say, right, that's it. I'm not doing nothing here. I'm not messing about in here.
So in and around, so if you've even driven like 3 or 4 hours and then you get that feeling, then you want to back away as well. Have you ever had it when there's been any problems with the car and you're like, I know that's the energy messing around, that the car won't start or the lights have gone, or...
Don't.
I've been to many places where a lot of spirits play tricks as well. Have you ever had anything like that going on?
The tricks of just trying to bang stuff and scare you and running across the floor. I've had all that. Yeah, and I'm like, I've with people that haven't done it before, explorers I've been with, and they hear it and they go to run. I'm like, no, it's right. But yeah, they play. They were really like, I actually did run out of one place not long ago because the energy was just getting a little bit over the top. They're trying to scare us, and the saucepans were getting all banged and everything. I was like, that's it, time to shut this down, get out. Because it was getting hectic, running across the floor, banging here, banging there. It was all getting a bit, very lively, and I wasn't risking it because I was on my, I'm the only one that does the paranormal. They're all just normal people to explore, and if something went wrong, I'm not going to be able to do anything on my own. So I shut everything down, said let's get out. Yeah,
is your partner quite in tune with you as well, Claire, or do you find he's got his own little strengths and you've got your strengths when you're out?
My husband,
partner, yeah.
He's he's in his own world. He's very what's the word? No filter, in his own world. He helps a lot. His energy is brilliant. He's a lot calmer than me. My head's very fast, so sometimes I get loads of questions and get myself mixed up. But he'll bring me back down, and he'll work like a bit more calm, bit more collective. So we've got a really good balance of energy there together. And he really gets involved sometimes, and he's really good at it. And sometimes I think, oh my God, he's better than me. Yeah. But he doesn't believe in himself, but he has got a very good energy sometimes. And when I've been on them locations on my own with just me and him, I'm like, please help me, please. I can't get this spirit work, or I don't feel great. I need your help. Here, come and help me. But he hates it. But then he gets into it and he loves it. So it's sort of, I've got to catch him on the right time, because if he's exploring a place that we need to get in and out of because farmers are checking, or, if they catch you, they're not very nice. We don't want to risk getting hurt, because some of these people will challenge you and they're not nice. We're getting in and out and they say, no, you're not doing paranormal. We're getting in here, film, get out. But his energy, he needs to develop. He's a bit of, what's the word? He is a bit of an empath. He sees people when we walk down the street, and he'll say to me, that girl there, she was really sad. I feel sorry for her. And I said, you're an empath. And then he'll do certain things when we're out, or he cries. He cries in the houses. He gets over it and cries. And I'm like, that's spirit. They're stepping in. With an emotion. Yeah, he went in one place, he's so overwhelmed, this farm. And the story was so sad. A man, I think, hung himself in there. He started crying in the house for no reason because he was so overwhelmed, and that's sort of how he is. But he's not like me or you. He just won't listen. He's like, no, I'm not.
Well, that's teamwork as well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Jessica says, what experience have you had within the paranormal world, basically, that really stuck out with you?
I've helped quite a few spirits that were stuck. I know it sounds awful, by using spirit balls, and people hate them. Some people really despise them, and I agree. Some people can not like them, some people do, but I haven't personally had a bad problem. I've had some.
Yeah.
But I think the experience I've had from using them, and I've got history and helped, and I've had them come back. One, I won't say where it is, I'm not going to actually name it, but one place I helped a spirit go over. Asked for my help on the board. We all joined hands. Everyone felt it, the vibration go up. And if you've done that, you might be aware of that feeling. You get the tingly feeling. But I moved into another room, put the ball back down. He came back through and thanked me and told me with his wife. I asked for the year he was here. Can I ask you one more question? He gave the date and then went goodbye and went. He actually said, thank you, Claire. You spelt my name out as well. And it really like, oh, I've helped somebody. I've done it a few times. I don't tend to do it because I'm on my own, and what's the word? I haven't had the experience and worked with people like you to do it properly. I've learnt myself again. So I need to be careful. But what I've had so far, has been good. So, but I never know if it won't be good, so I'm always open-minded about it.
I always say there's always ways to open and close the board correctly as well, so I wouldn't recommend anybody just getting one and running with one and just trying it. I would just say, go to somebody that's used them prior in the past. Dave said he's had car issues in the past, as we've touched on. Radio changing channels completely. Car alarm went off at home for no reason.
You do know what that would be? Someone trying to get your attention.
Usually, Dave's got some more work to do. I bet you that starts again tonight. Dave. Trying to get your attention.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I've had like something in my house happen with my son one time, and he started to pour a bath. My son's got autism, and he poured a bath, and I was downstairs doing something, but I wasn't aware he'd gone up there to do it without me. So the next minute, I've got a spirit in my house still now and then, out of the blue, would do my alarm up and then do the top one. And I know it's not the alarm, they're trying to communicate with me, so I'm aware of that. The top one started to go whatever the sound it makes, and I thought, well, why is that going off? Because it shouldn't be going off, but it wouldn't stop. I thought, right, I better go and have a look. So I went up the stairs. He was in the bathroom. I heard the tap running. I opened the door, boiling hot water up to here. It was telling me that he was in there with boiling hot water running the bath, and I'd only turned my back probably for seconds downstairs. He's like, I want a bath water. I'm like, hold on, wait there while I do that, and he'd run on up and put it on. So like, spirits will communicate if they need to get your attention. I've had trying to get my attention with the other one, the loft hatch coming down, you name it. I've had all sorts. When I won't listen, they go to the extremes of smashing stuff around.
This is why I'm laughing at Jess's and Dave's comments coming through now, that people think we're crazy, and it's like, no, welcome to our world. The more attention that they want to get, they will continue until they get a response.
Oh yeah, if you don't, I've learnt that. I've had my husband, when he first moved in with me years ago, about 10 years ago, obviously my ex-partner took his life. I don't mind sharing that with you. He committed suicide, and I was aware of his energy around, and I did say to my husband, if anything happens, don't worry, it's just him. He was like, whatever. He came flying up my stairs through my door screaming, there's a man in the house. He said to me, you best sort it out, because if you don't, I'm going back to my mum's. I'm not putting up with this. Another time he came flying up, other things, stuff moving around, shuffling around the front room, honestly. Another time we had an argument, and I was downstairs, and I said, you better stop shouting, because he can hear you. He goes, what do you mean he can hear you? And I said, well, when he gets angry, he shoves down the loft hatch, yeah? And what happened? We stood downstairs, bang. He said to me, this carries on, I'm going back to my mum's. I said, well, don't shout. Yeah, they get your attention. They let you know they're there. You've just got to listen and not believe that you're going nuts, because
I know I've been out with a friend, obviously many years ago, walking, and he said, who are you talking to? And I zoned out, and he said, Gary, that was 20 minutes ago. And he said, you're having a conversation with a female. He said, I can't hear the female, but I can hear you're talking to a lady. So when you zone out, you just zoned out. It's just unbelievable.
I zone out all the time in this house. Get away from the kids.
So again, how many videos have you uploaded now on your YouTube page? And can you give it us again, Claire?
Oh, you get it up myself, because you know what?
Yeah.
Without looking, I must have a fair few on there. I've changed my name to Paranormal 666 on there, so it's easy to find. But let me go on. I've got. Oh my God, it doesn't even tell me on here how many I've got. I've got there must be at least 30 videos.
Yeah, so there's plenty of people that can subscribe to your channel and watch, and then have something to
Paranormal 666.
Paranormal 666.
I don't think. Where's the camera?
Okay, so we'll try and put a link on for that as well.
Yeah, there's
when we were doing the live for the Festival of the Unexplained, I could see the gentleman that they were interviewing. I could see shadows coming from behind, even as they were talking in this location as well. So spirits have a good way of communicating with us.
And another thing I've had with the paranormal stuff as well, I found, like with me, I go to locations. There's a lot of people out there that do abandoned stuff, and a lot of people out there that do stuff that's not real. And I find with on my you'll find on my channel, I go to some places and I don't get nothing, because I'm not gonna make
That's how it
things
is.
happen that, you know, don't happen. So if it happens, it happens. And I find, you know, I've got a good balance of videos. Some of them I do no paranormal in out of respect, because one of them, well, you know, was a young lad that died, had a fitting out. The respect to the family, I wouldn't do paranormal in there. I didn't want to pour that up. Some places I go in there and I'm like, I'm not doing paranormal. It doesn't feel right. So, you know, I've got a good balance of videos. I've got a few lives on there. I've got a few things coming up. I've spoke to you. I'm not going to mention it yet. But
Yeah, sure.
I've got a few things. I'm just going to mix my page up. I've got a video on there for helping you if you can't sleep as well, like listening to the rain. I'm doing a few different things because of lockdown, not being able to go out.
So you're trying to cover an array to help people as well. Right, we're going to leave it there. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we haven't touched on, Claire?
My husband's got a channel. It's the Oxford Finest Explorer. If you want to go to him, he's crazy. Beware if you want to watch his channel. He's got no filter. He's absolutely crazy. But yeah, so that's the Oxford Finest Explorer. He's very different to me. We're both two very different people.
Excellent. And again, that's where it's something for people to watch in this times of they've got time on their hands, hopefully, to get around and push all your work out. I do look forward to catching up with you again soon. And I just wish you get back up to 100%. But when you get back up to 100%, you're out and about there. Wait for your next little senses to come in as well.
Yeah. But thank you for having me on here. Thank you, Karen. But I will, when I'm up and running, I'll come on up and do some explores around some castles.
Excellent. I will be down Oxford Way one day. So again, thanks for your time, folks. Thanks for tuning in. And again, look forward to seeing you on Thursday night at 9 o'clock for GF Uncensored. And thanks for Karen and the moderators again. Thanks for your time. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. I don't know how to get out of here.
No, you stay with us. I'm just going to end this now.
Okay.